Well, welcome to the Masters of Travel series. And my name is John Werner. I'm the president of MAST Travel Network, a network of about 1,000 travel advisors specializing in travel to all parts of the world. We do work with very popular tour and cruise companies across the country. And so with us today, we have Dawn Elmendorf of Rocky Mountaineer. And perhaps some of you listening have not heard of Rocky Mountaineer or have had the excitement and the pleasure of the Rocky Mountaineer experience, but we're going to talk about something that is recently been announced by Rocky Mountaineer about a new experience coming this summer. And so, Dawn, welcome to our series.
Thank you. Thanks so much, John. Yes, we are really excited. As some of you may know, Rocky Mountaineer, we've been around for 30 years now. My gosh, 30 years in the Canadian Rockies, offering luxury rail, daylight only rail tours. And we are thrilled that we're coming to the United States. So starting, we're having inaugural season in 2021. So we're going to be operating for 10 weeks, 40 departures from Moab to Denver. So very excited about that.
That's great. And when does that start up? I know it's sometime this summer, but what's the exact startup date?
Yeah, it'll start up August 14th is the first departure date.
Okay.
So, running until, I believe, October 17th.
Okay, 10 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Great time of the year to be in the Colorado Rockies. And of course, you said you're starting in Moab, Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And or I believe that when you said Moab, I
said Moab, but you can go either way. Start in Denver and go to Moab, or go to Moab and start in Denver. So sometimes it's easier to talk Denver to Moab. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is 2 days on the train with the one overnight. Now, of course, like you said, you've been operating for years in the Canadian Rockies. What will this experience, how will this be different?
So a lot of it's going to be the same, John. So we're going to offer the one thing that makes Rocky Mountaineer unique is we are daylight only train travel. So you do not sleep on the train. It's going to be the same way in the US. We're also, we're going to some of the prettiest areas of the world between the US Colorado Rockies and the Canadian Rockies. So you don't want to sleep through it. You don't want to be traveling at night. So we always overnight in destinations. And for this route, overnighting in Glenwood Springs. Now, you'll still have the same wonderful commentary. You're still going to have our professional hosts on board that will tell you the histories of the area and the sights of the area and some fun human interest stories. You'll still have the same great cuisine. The one difference, if anybody's familiar with Rocky Mountaineer, in Canada, we have 2 levels of service. We have gold and silver. Gold is a bi-level rail car. Unfortunately, some of the tunnels in the US are too short for that. So we don't want to do a level and a half. Yeah. So we've come up with, we'll still have our great Silverleaf service. And then we've come up with Silverleaf Plus. And it's really just an enhancement to our great Silverleaf service. And it's just that you're going to get access to a lounge car as well. And there'll be a mixologist there and all kinds of fun things. But it's still the same great service as our Silverleaf. Just a little bit more place to roam around. And yeah.
Well, that sounds great, having the lounge car and to be able to move about. I know that's what's so great about the experience. I did when I had the opportunity to be on the Canadian Rockies route from Vancouver to Banff. The spaciousness of the cars, it really. It didn't feel like just getting on a train and going somewhere. I mean, you really ride in luxury style, and but during the day, then you talked about the storyteller. The attendants on board the train. They're storytellers, they're historians, they're naturalists. Really. quite versatile and serving you at the same time. Why don't can you describe that experience too?
Sure. Yeah, they're just amazing, the hosts. I mean, I get so many compliments about our hosts on board. Yeah, they'll tell you the stories of the area, but they'll also be serving you throughout the day too. You know, John, as you know, you're not going to go hungry on Rocky Mountaineer, right?
Right.
It's amazing.
It
So
is.
it is all inclusive when you're on the train. So that means your meals, generally breakfast and lunch, because you're off the train by dinner time with that daylight only travel.
Right.
But besides your meals, it's snacks and all the alcoholic, non-alcoholic beverages you want. We do wine and cheese in the afternoon, coffee or tea if you want. And you know, sometimes if the culinary team on board has time, they'll come around with warm cookies that they make. So it's just amazing. And by the way, every single rail car, I don't know if you remember this, but every rail car on board Rocky Mountaineer has its own kitchen and culinary team.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing, because if you think about it, your food is not being made 8-10 cars back and then cold by the time you brought to it.
Right.
And it really is, as you can attest to, it really is world-class cuisine.
It is. It was amazing, and it is so interesting or neat to know that, you know, the food isn't made in a kitchen and, you know, next to the train depot, and then it's just brought on and warmed up. You know, it's to be served. It really is a full experience, and fresh. All the food being freshly cooked,
Right.
right on
And
board.
what I love about it too, it's all locally sourced. And so when you're in Canada, it's, you know, Alberta beef and Pacific Northwest salmon and wines from the area. It's going to be the same way in the US. We're going to have a little bit of a Southwest feel to it.
Okay.
And everything's going to be locally sourced and local wines. And we're going to have some craft cocktails with the area too. So it's going to be really fun.
Right.
We're even going to do a toast as we cross over the Continental Divide every day.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's fun. That'll be
That'll be
fun.
fun.
And yeah, and Colorado is known for also, you know, obviously great food, and there's wineries. The craft brewery business is big there. So when you feature the bring the local cuisine on board the train too, it really elevates the experience that people aren't necessarily going to get when they're, you know, just out on their own. So the what will be the scenery? Do you have a feel already, since, you know, you haven't had to you haven't been on it yet because it hasn't gone?
Mhm.
But what do you know about what the scenery is going to be like on day one, for example?
So day one, if we're talking westbound, so say from Denver to Glenwood Springs. And by the way, I'd recommend, you know, if anybody has spent time in Denver, you know, it's a great, great city. It's so walkable, very, very cool. The Larimer Square, which is kind of this old Victorian area, and a lot of fun shops and restaurants. And of course, you mentioned the local breweries down there, and that's in the Lodo district, which is a lower downtown district. So everything's walkable in Denver. So I would really recommend coming in an extra day and just enjoying that city if you haven't. And then the scenery on day one from Denver to Glenwood Springs, that's going to be a lot of canyons. So you'll pass several canyons. You'll also go around the Big Ten curve. So the Big Ten curve, this is just north of Denver. And it's actually a curve that goes 270 degrees. But what's really interesting is they call it the Big Ten curve because when you measure it in railway standards, it's 10 degrees. I don't know the math, but it's really neat. And so there's this giant curve, and you'll go past, some really amazing canyons on that first day. A lot of canyons the first day.
Yeah, well, that's neat. Yeah, and some of the, you know, tallest peaks in the entire country, and I believe Glenwood Springs, isn't that near Aspen?
A little bit, yeah. It's not too far from Aspen. Aspen, I believe, is a little further south, but don't quote me on that. But it's known for its hot springs. So a
Right.
lot of hot springs in Glenwood Springs. There's of course the Glenwood Resort, and that has a big hot spring. You can even use that if you aren't staying at the resort. I think it's $25. But there's also Iron Mountain Hot Springs. So there's several hot springs. And Glenwood Springs, I've actually been there. Glenwood Springs is really cool. It can have kind of a street fair feel to it because there's a lot of live music and cute shops and restaurants, and even throughout like the fall they do have these pop-up markets, so really fun. You actually leave Denver at 5 and get into Glenwood. I'm sorry, you leave Denver at 9 and get into Glenwood Springs around 5, so you'll have time to experience that and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's part of the whole experience, that overnight stay that you have off the train. And I know you make it, Rocky Mountaineer makes it so easy and convenient. I know when we arrived in Kamloops from going from Vancouver to Banff, the bus transportation was right there. I mean, it pulled up right next to the train car, and you walked all of maybe 10 steps or something to get to the bus that then takes everybody to the hotel. I mean, it's just so effortless. Just one of the most easy ways to travel.
It really is. And actually our hotel locations in Glenwood Springs are definitely walkable. I mean, of course we'll have a motor coach if anybody, wants it, but it's probably going to take longer to do the motor coach than it will.
Yeah.
Because like one is just over the bridge, which is like 600 feet long. And so it's, everything is right there and really, really.
Well, and you can walk because you don't have to, it's not like you're going to be carrying your luggage off the train. Rocky Mountaineer takes care of all that too. So it sounds like you will literally get off the train. You can walk into town and walk to your hotel. How easy is that?
Exactly. But if there's any mobility issues, let us know and we'll be able to provide a motor coach, provide transportation.
Right. Yeah. So then describe what day 2 is like, going again from east to west.
Okay, so from Glenwood, you're actually going to leave a little early. It's going to be about 7 in the morning, but no worries. We're going to have a great breakfast on board for you right away. And then you're going to get into Moab around noon. It's about 194 miles from Glenwood to Moab. Now remember, and John, if you remember this, the train only goes about 35 miles an hour max. So we call it Kodak speed. We kind of joke it's Kodak speed. So you can take plenty of pictures because you're not getting on and off the train at various sites. And sometimes we even come to almost a dead stop if we're going past some really amazing sites. So this day is where you're going to be getting into those really pretty like red rocks and red mountains, like the Lasalle Mountains. It's this red formation that the peaks span over 10 miles. It actually was the point on the old Spanish Trail where people could kind of see between like Las Vegas and Los Angeles, where everything was. So you can actually see them for quite a ways. And so these great red formations, of course, Moab known, if you see the Arches and Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park, you see all those red rock formations. So that's where you're going to be doing that. So it's really a neat contrast because you're going to have the canyons on the first day and then getting into the red rocks and the mountains the next day.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And then you'll get into Moab around noon.
Okay.
Moab, another great little town, and just lots of little shops and restaurants. And you're going to have a choice after that, whether you're going to want to head up to Salt Lake or over to Las Vegas. And we're going to be you can do it either by motor coach, which are set packages. We will have a travel director on board. So we have set packages to both Las Vegas and Salt Lake. So it's just a matter of where you're going to want to go. Or you can do a self-drive package as well, where we'll provide the hotels, we'll provide a full-size rental car, but then you can explore on your own. It's kind of nice. There's good and bad to both. I mean, there's pluses and minuses. The motor coach, you're more on a schedule, but you have a travel director and a driver with you, so you're learning more about the area. Yeah. But self-drive, you're on your own. You just have to get to your next hotel destination the next day, so you can explore at your own pace.
Well, and people will have a choice, and some people obviously want that kind of do it on your own type of experience, and others and everything want it to, hey, you're already taking really good care of me. Why not? I love the attention and the service, so they'll go with the driver, the bus experience, and the guide.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
That's
both
wonderful.
are great ways. It's just a matter of personal preference.
Well, and you mentioned just a minute ago too about the speed of the train, and that's one of the things that um, is enjoyable because you have time to. It isn't just a matter of sitting there. I mean, the trip is relaxing, but it's also can be active because you can look out to the left or look out to the right. There's always something to see. Um,
Spotting
but at this,
the animal spotting, we're gonna have that will be there too. Isn't it funny? So as you know, John, our hosts carry walkie-talkie. So if anybody on the train spots an animal, they'll yell out, bear on the right. And isn't it funny? Everybody like screams and jumps up and runs to find the
I know. You would think that it's true. You would think that none of the passengers on the train have ever been to a zoo before or never seen an animal. But it is exciting when you're out in the
yeah.
nature and and wilderness and everything, and different from, of course, driving on a highway. With the train can go right through the center of the mountains and the tunnels, and you're following some of the rivers that wind through the area. You're right there above the river. I mean, we could even see a fish in the water below.
Mhm.
Right off the train, you can see the fish swimming in the stream. So
Yeah,
I'm sure that's going to be similar in Colorado like that.
it will be. Yeah, and you will be close like that. This is seeing it. It's beautiful. Whether you're in the US or in Canada, it's a beautiful drive no matter what you do. But seeing it by train is just so different and so unique. It's really a one of a kind experience. And especially the way Rocky Mountaineer does it with, our own kitchen and culinary team and the world-class cuisine and the commentary with the hosts on board. It just makes for such a unique experience. And yeah, then you get to be able to look for those animals. And isn't it funny, John, how once that first bear or bald eagle or bighorn sheep, whatever, is spotted, everybody gets into it, don't they? Everybody's
They
looking
do.
for it.
They do, yeah. And it is almost like they talk about in Africa, the big five. Well, on this trip, it's also like there's certain animals you want to see in the wild, a grizzly bear and a black bear, and they have those in Colorado too. So I
Mhm.
don't think there's any moose though in Colorado.
I
I'm not
don't think
sure.
so. We'll have to be looking for that. Maybe we could import them in when we bring our rail cars down.
Right.
Plant a few Sasquatches too.
I
So,
also noticed too, like a lot of on the train. I know it's not going to be the double-decker gold leaf dome, but there is still so much glass and windows. I mean, you really you can see out, and you're not disadvantaged at all, no matter where you're sitting on the train.
no,
You have a full view.
yeah,
And one of the things too that I loved and gave a different perspective of things is that it's almost like with the glass, you can look up into the forest and see the forest from the bottom up, and just such a different perspective on
yeah,
things. And
yeah.
it sounds like you'll be able to get that on this.
Absolutely. We
Yeah.
have big picture windows. Actually, the picture windows, because they're on the main level and not the second level, are a little larger on that. It's still a domed car. It doesn't go the whole 180-degree domes like the gold leaf cars do. But I have people that tell me they actually prefer silverleaf because you're down closer. So when you do spot that animal, you're down right there, closer in nature.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah. So it's again a matter of personal preference,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's still the same great service that Rocky Mountaineer provides. And you mentioned the big five in Africa. That reminded me that we have some packages where you can actually see the Mighty Five, which are the five major national parks in the United
Oh,
States. So
okay.
some of our packages will include all five of those. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing those when they come out.
yeah.
That's going to be neat. So it sounds like there's just going to be a lot of opportunities to uh, customize your trip in a way. The way you've got the train experience, but you can build pre-trip and post, and you can build a lot of different experiences around it, which is
Yeah.
going to be really neat for people.
Yeah, that's true. You can, and what's great is you can do both. I mean, you can kind of build your own pre, but then if post you want to do the motor coach tour, you can certainly do that. Or if you want to kind of be on your own for a few days and do the self drive. So it's great. And I think it, definitely coming into Denver, if you haven't spent time, it's a great city.
Yeah.
So I have
Now,
a couple nephews that live there, so I love that city.
oh yeah, no, it's a really neat city. And so we can just go back for a moment to Glenwood Springs. Are you using more than one hotel there, or is it one hotel?
We're using 3 hotels there. It's going to be a little bit like Kamloops, John, where that is the one place where you can't necessarily pick your hotel, and it's for operational reasons. As you know, when you got to Kamloops, it was kind of a whole operational thing, but we have 3 great hotels all within the walking distance if you want. So, but in Denver and Moab, you will have a choice of several hotels. It's just
Okay.
an operational thing in Glenwood Springs, but we do have 3 different hotels we are using, and they're all amazing.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, especially being walking distance is nice. And
Mhm.
so I know you also mentioned that you're going to some of the cuisine on board is going to take in Colorado, locally sourced and that sort of thing, and the Southwest flair. But I imagine some of your, maybe signature dishes or most popular dishes, even on the Canadian train routes. What is your favorite breakfast? Let's
Oh,
say, since you do breakfast and lunch, I'll ask you for your favorite breakfast dish and then your favorite lunch dish.
okay. Well, my breakfast is just boring because I love the parfait. It's just so fresh and it has all the fresh fruits, and I know what's coming the rest of the day, so I try to eat a little lighter at breakfast.
Yes,
But
you got to pace yourself.
you do have to pace yourself, yes. Actually, I would say probably my favorite part are the cinnamon orange scones. If you remember those
Oh, yeah.
scones, yeah. So, but the eggs Benedict with salmon is really good too. So, oh, and then lunch. I'm a huge beef short ribs fan. That would be if that's on the menu, that is exactly what I'm getting every single time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite. But the shrimp and risotto is
Mhm.
also nice
I
as well.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And if anybody has any dietary requests, we can handle almost any dietary request. We can't do kosher for obviously reasons because small kitchen in the rail
Right.
car. But almost, gluten free. We have plenty of gluten free items on the menu, sodium free. Just make sure that they let the travel advisors know ahead of time. I mean, when booking, preferably.
Yes. Yes.
Because if we find out when they arrive, or if we find out a day before, then it's not always possible, but we do our best.
Yeah.
um Gosh, my colleague I was on with my colleague, and she's gluten free. They even gave her a gluten free cookie
Yeah.
when they were coming around with the cookies. So
Oh, okay. Good.
since we're talking cuisine, I do have to mention my favorite is the chocolate brownie remember the chocolate brownie with the chocolate sauce and ice cream?
I do. I do. Sure do.
I have a
Yeah.
huge sweet tooth, so that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah. I know you can't pass up the dessert, even though by the time you're done with the main course, you're full, but you're there. So you got to
Yeah.
take it all in.
Oh yeah. And I think, oh, maybe I'll just eat half of it. That never happens.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, an hour later, you're eating again. So,
I know. And the snacks, we're not just throwing a bag of potato chips at you and,
right.
and pretzels. I mean, the gourmet snacks, the spicy mix and the chocolate nut mix and the dried fruit mix. So
Yeah.
it's pretty much unlimited. They come around all the time with
Yeah.
it.
And it's just he's so nicely presented too. I mean, you don't, like you mentioned about the wine and cheese. It's not like they just give you a plate with a couple of cheese sticks wrapped up or something. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a cart or a big platter, and they actually you look at the cheese and they ask you what you would like from an assortment, and
Hmm.
then they slice it right there for you. It's just so fun.
Yeah, it really is. It's just a great experience. I mean, it's like going to, you know, a, a five-star restaurant, but yet you're on this five-star rail journey. It's
Right.
really a nice combination. And the daylight only really makes it key. That was one of our, you know, we've looked all over the world for this. We've been kind of planning this a little bit, and then when everything happened, we put it into high gear. But it was fascinating. I was listening in on a committee meeting, and it was just fascinating when they had to find the destination. Rocky Mountaineer is so particular. We had to be able to use our own rail cars because we're very proud of our rail cars.
Mhm.
We had to be able to have daylight only scenery. So we had to find somewhere where there was a great place to overnight, like Glenwood Springs. It had to be scenic the entire way, and we had to be able to bring our own food on board. And so it was just amazing, everything that went into it and everything that goes into finding a new rail route. So
Yeah.
kudos to the Rocky Mountaineer team, man, for pulling this off so quick.
Yeah, who would have thought? It never occurred to me that that the experience that you have in Canada, that you could expand and do things within the U.S. and then who knows, maybe there's other parts of the world that you can be in as well down
Yeah.
the road. But I'm sure that this will be very successful, and it will sell out. 10 weeks is not that much time, but
Yeah, I wish we had more time, but being our inaugural season, but we do already have our 2022 rail dates out, and we are not raising our rail pricing. Now, the packages will probably go up because hotel pricing, once we get that, will go up. But
right.
as far as the rail only portion, you can actually book. We have 2022 out right now, and it's going to be a full season in 2022, and when I say full season, we operate mid-April to mid-October. We want to keep that daylight only train travel going, so we don't go into the, into the winter when it gets darker earlier.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Such a great experience. Is there anything else you would like to add? Anything else you can think of that everybody should know?
Just give it a try. This is a luxury product, but I promise you, everybody that's come back has said, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had more time on the train, actually, is what people tell me at almost every single trade show I go to. I get that comment. It was so worth it. And, so whether you've done it in Canada or you're new to Rocky Mountaineer, the U.S. route is going to be a fabulous addition to your travel repertoire.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There isn't anything else, any other experience like that, right? There hasn't been in the United States. So this is going to be, it's going to be huge.
We're so unique. That's what I love about this company is we are so unique. There's really nothing else like it out there in Canada or the US.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Dawn, I really appreciate your time today talking to us about the exciting new route that your company will be providing come August. Wish it would be sooner, but it'll be exciting when it starts up. And so wish you good luck with that and everything. I know it's going to be very popular.
Thank you. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me too. I appreciate it. I appreciate getting the word out about Rocky Mountaineer.
Well, you have a very nice day, and talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Masters of Travel. You can find us on Facebook at MAST Travel Network, on Instagram at MAST Travel Network, and on Twitter at MVP Travel. If you would like to find a travel advisor near you, please direct message any of our social media sites